Good evening, and welcome to the regular meeting that is November 22nd, 2021 for the Village of Ortonville. It is 7 p.m. and we are about to get started. Thank you. We'd like to begin with the Pledge of Allegiance, which will be led by Trustee Hayden this evening.
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Thank you. Jenna, when you're ready, please, we would like a roll call.
Dylas.
Present.
George.
Present.
Green.
Present.
Hayden.
Here.
Nivell.
Here.
Randazzo.
Here.
Bryce.
Here. Thank you very much. We'd like to entertain an approval of our agenda, please.
I make a motion to approve the agenda as presented.
Support.
We have a motion on the table by Trustee Hayden, supported by Trustee Nivell. Questions or comments? All right, Jenna, please.
George.
Yes.
Green.
Yes.
Hayden.
Yes.
Nivell. Yes. Randazzo.
Yes.
Dylas.
Yes.
Bryce.
Yes, thank you very much. Next up, item number 5 this evening is the approval of the council minutes. Our minutes for the evening is October 25th, 2021. We are also looking for a motion on those.
I make a motion to approve the minutes as presented.
Support.
We have a motion on the table by Trustee Hayden, and it's supported by Trustee Nivell. Questions or comments at this time? All right, Jen, please.
Green.
Yes.
Hayden.
Yes.
Nivell.
Yes.
Randazzo.
Yes.
Dylas.
Yes.
George.
Yes.
Bryce.
Yes. Thank you. That motion carries 7-0 as well. Item number 6 this evening is our acceptance items, which will include the village treasurer's report for October 2021 and the revenue and expenditures, which have ended October 31st, 2021. Any motion?
Make a motion to approve the treasurer's report.
I'm sorry. We don't. I'm awful. The next one we need. We don't need one. They were just acceptance. That's my
Okay.
mistake.
Can I make a comment?
Absolutely.
The treasurer and I have talked through a couple budget adjustments that we'll be making at the halfway mark through the year, so expect them in your January village council meeting. We'll talk through some budget adjustments. You'll see we've already identified a few things to talk about.
Thank you very much. All right. Let's move on to the approval of disbursements. I'd love to have a motion for.
I make the motion to approve the disbursements for the dates of October 16, 2021 through November 15, 2021 for the amount of $18,132.93.
Support.
We have a motion on the table by Trustee Hayden that is supported by Trustee Nivell. Do we have any questions or comments on the disbursements? Jenna, please.
Hayden.
Yes.
Nivell.
Yes.
Randazzo.
Yes.
Dylas.
Yes.
George.
Yes.
Green.
Yes.
Bryce.
Yes. Thank you. Motion carries 7-0. Next up this evening is public comments. Keep in mind that this time this is on agenda items only. You can have 3 minutes per speaker, and we would love for you to either raise your hand or stand up or welcome you to the podium. All right. item number 9, which is the approval of our consent agenda. This evening, that includes the minute of the Goodrich Ortonville Area Small Urban Program meeting from January 22nd, 2015 and April 23rd, 2021. It also includes the attorney invoice for October, the Planning Commission meeting minutes from October 5th, 2021, Personnel Committee minutes from October 18th, 2021, the Goodrich Ortonville Small Urban Planning Program meeting from October 19th, 2021, the RRC Committee minutes from October 20th, the Wayfinding Subcommittee minutes from November 8th, and the Village of Ortonville calendar of meetings.
Trustee Randazzo, I'd like to have the number 5, the minutes from the Personnel Committee, pulled out of the consent agenda.
All right. Anything else? Anyone else? All right, so we are looking for a motion to get in line number 5.
I'd like to make a motion to remove from the consent agenda and put it at our, do I pick which one it's going to go on?
You can approve it besides that item. You can approve items on the floor. The single reader can approve all of the items except 5, whatever you choose to send.
No, I mean, do I have to put it somewhere in the new business area?
Well, you would approve everything but that, and then that would mean you can pull.
Oh, okay. I make a motion to approve the consent agenda minus the entry number 5 minutes personnel committee meeting from October 18th, 2021.
Do we have support?
Support.
All right. We have a motion on the table by trustee Randazzo, and that is supported by trustee Nyfeld. Any questions or comments on the motion? All right, Jenna, please.
Nyfeld,
Yes.
Randazzo,
Yes.
Zilas,
Yes.
George,
Yes.
Green,
Yes.
Eden,
Yes.
Bryce,
Yes. Thank you. That motion carried 7-0. Would you like to see that in committee updates area? Or would you like to see that through?
Leave it up to you, your pick.
Is that fine in discussing it when we get to the updates?
Yeah, that's fine. That's perfect.
Give me one second. All right. Look at that, committee updates. We are at our items from the trustees, and we have our committee updates, and we are going to start reverse alphabetical order this time. So, Melanie, if you don't mind, we'll start with you. I'm sorry, I lied. Tony, we're going to start with you.
Yeah. So the personnel meeting minutes never made it into our last month's meeting. That's one of the reasons I pulled it out, so we could discuss that. And at this point in time, I'd like to hand it over to Manager Addis to continue.
Sure. First, I want to apologize because I printed the packets, so they're front and back, even though Jenna told me not to. So, for all the paper shuffling, I apologize. You will find in your packet the Personnel Committee meeting minutes of October 18th. There were several topics of discussion, ongoing personnel policy updates, and then we also discussed the treasurer and their rate of pay. So there have been a couple instances lately, especially around the American Rescue Plan money and things like that, where the treasurer has gone beyond their normal job duties. And so it is up to me as the village manager to make a recommendation for an out-of-step raise. It's been discussed with the personnel committee several times in different ways. This body has talked about out-of-step pay raises as well. So at this point, I would turn to discussion on that issue. We're in a place where we can vote on that if we would like to, right? If we want to discuss. Okay. We also discussed the pay rate for the DPW's 3-man crew we have our DPW supervisor and then 2 DPW laborers. The one who's been there the longest it has been taking on all kinds of added work as a two-man crew through the summer, through Witches Night Out. Man, Bob and Scott worked their tails off for the longest time. Per the Personnel Committee minutes, I may recommend an out-of-step pay raise for that person. And the Personnel Committee support has been expressed through the Personnel Committee meeting minutes. So if we would like to discuss those two items, I'd love to hear further discussion.
Yeah. Do you have something in mind as far as increases for the treasurer and or the DPW? What are you guys looking at?
I'd like to go with
I'm sorry,
3%.
3%? And that's for all of?
That's for both of the items that he had spoken. The DPW and the treasurer.
And the okay.
Just so I'm clear, didn't they just do a 3% raise?
They did not.
This is like, everybody got a raise, but this is
Effective
an out-of-step raise.
July 1st. Yep.
But not the upgrade that everybody else got.
So they just got everybody raised, correct?
Yeah.
That's correct. Everybody.
Two people did.
So essentially the heart of this issue is that July 1st, everyone received the 3% raise who had been here for at least 90 days, if not the year. And then there were out-of-step raises last year, January, February, for some employees, but not for all employees. So that's why it's prickly, why it's still an issue, why we still haven't settled it.
And Bob Hawkswell received a raise then, did he not?
He received one in January of 2021.
So he received one in January and in July.
That's correct.
That's the same time frame that the clerk also received.
The clerk did? And then, so the treasurer is the only one who did not receive?
No,
No, DPW did not as
DPW
well.
crew did not receive anything.
Okay.
The
Okay, but-
cleaning person did not receive anything.
The who?
The cleaning person.
Mary.
Oh, Mary.
We have a cleaning person.
I know that. We haven't discussed it.
No, and if it's of importance, I'm not sure, but the two raises in January were more of a monetary, where the second one was percentage. There was a monetary number attached to those first two in January,
Gotcha.
and then the next ones were percentage.
Were the across the
number
board,
percentage,
okay.
So at that time in January, there were 4 employees that did not receive. There were 2 employees that did. In July, all current employees received.
Correct.
Yeah, I will share that when we've been discussing this personnel, my main concern with out-of-step pay raises is because of the issues that they've caused, specifically for the previous ones, which although I feel that they were deserved, it did create issues with the other employees. I don't want to see that aggravated, and I feel that an out-of-step pay raise really should have some special justification in terms of, hey, this person really went way above and beyond their normal job duties. And so I've expressed that if the village manager as personnel director feels that this is the case, he just has to bring the justification forward and explain the situation and let the council decide if that's justified for that particular employee and the exceptional work that they do.
I think he did bring that tonight, though.
Yeah,
At least that's what I heard.
yeah.
So in addition to the ARP, I know when Beth was doing ARP, she was also working on the audit at the same time. She was simultaneously working
Right.
on those, right? And I thought there was something else too, but I can't remember
We
now.
adopted a budget.
Yeah, that's right. You guys were working on
Started
our
adopting
budget.
it the week I started,
Yeah.
so she did a lot of the
Yeah,
heavy
she-
lifting
okay.
on that.
Now, would this be effective immediately? Would it be backdated? What
Retroactive.
are you recommending?
Oh, you want me to recommend one?
What,
I
did
was hoping that
personnel?
would be discussed.
Okay, well, does personnel have a recommendation on that?
No, because we left that up to the manager, because the manager does the day-to-day tasks. What he requested is that something that he could pursue, and we were in consensus with it.
Okay.
Because again, that's not a standard, that's
Right.
another step. So, taking into account, I believe, and I don't want to take your words from it, as it's stated there, you stated, it's the the ARP, the budgeting and the audit are normal tasks that would be included in your job description. It would be the tasks of, all of the items that are included with preparing the ARP. That will go with administration with that as well.
And for the ARP, is Beth having to take any type of classes or will have to take for auditing purposes with ARP for the next several years? I'm not sure what's required.
There's been quite a few webinars and additional trainings that she's attended because there are some just kind of general ledger, creating an account to put the money in and things like that. So there's been a lot of extra administration of it that is not a normal job duty.
Right.
So it'll require a specific line item, which has to be
Accounted for.
accounted for consistently.
Have its own little
All that
audit
fun
every year.
stuff. Oh, yeah.
Okay.
So it's definitely a different.
Yeah, it's new. It's new for all of us. Well, I would love to make a recommendation or a motion, but I would like to hear what people think about if it should be retroactive or starting immediately, or what are thoughts?
Yeah, my suggestion, and this is at a bare minimum, we would have discussed this in October, so the minutes weren't here, so at bare minimum, I would say retroactive from, I don't have a calendar in front of me, my phone's off, so what I'm looking at is to see when the last pay date was for, I guess you could say after September. Anybody?
Okay, so October is when.
Well,
you
whatever
would
if the
suggest?
pay date was September 28th, then the
No,
next pay
but-
period would be September, no, I'm just saying,
Yeah.
the next pay period would be September 29th.
Okay,
So, and that would include the beginning of October. You see what I'm saying?
Yes.
If I turn my phone on, you're gonna see my medical stuff go off wacky, so I'm not turning it
let
on.
me try.
October 2nd was the end of the pay period, if that helps. Saturday, October 2nd.
Okay, so October 3rd started the new one?
Correct.
All right, so I'd say the bare minimum, well, my suggestion would be October 3rd bare minimum for retro.
Right.
I have a few questions. So, I know what Bob was making, so what are the laborers making?
Scott currently makes $14.86 an hour.
And that's the senior guy,
Yes.
and the other guy,
Currently 14 even an hour. He just started.
and Beth?
24.08 an hour. She works 20 hours a week.
And Jenna?
I did not write it down.
I know this is gonna.
21-ish an hour. I just looked at it today. I'm sorry.
All right, but in around 21.
And she works 30 hours a week.
Real quick, Ryan, what would the increased numbers be? if
So
they-
with a 3% raise, it would take Beth to 24.80 an hour, and it would take Scott to 15.31 per hour. Do you want me to hand this to you? I printed enough copies, I think.
Yeah, if you don't mind.
And I think while you're doing that, we did touch on Beth. With Scott, not only is he, Lucy is the term in charge when Bob is not here, he bared the grunt of, a person and a half as well as Bob did.
Right.
Well, there wasn't anybody. But those of you that were here, Bob unfortunately had an emergency on September 1st, which is night. There was also a little quirk, and Scott just stepped up immediately, no idea what he was doing, and just smile on his face, did absolutely everything. And when he wasn't doing his job, he was trying to help do everything else. So he definitely has learned a lot from Bob, and he reminds me of Bob well. So, I just wanted to throw that out there too. I mean, there is no boundary between,
And he's-
village assistant and DPW worker. So I really appreciate that, he sees that from Bob and takes the same.
I witnessed the same thing on September Fest and Witches Night Out, especially with Witches Night Out. He stayed way, he stayed.
He wasn't even supposed to be there.
Exactly.
Which is nice.
And absolutely did amazing.
Wow, since 10?
Nearly 2 years.
Wait, who are you talking about?
Scott,
Oh, Scott. Okay.
And he's full-time, 40 hours.
35, but yes.
35, but yes.
full-time, 35 hours. This is
And
regular.
he works overtime from time to time.
Yes, as needed, which has been needed.
Yeah. I guess, so that position, and he takes over he fills in for Bob, and Bob's not here, he's been here for 2 years, we like him, he does a good job, he's reliable, dependable, yada, yada, yada. I mean, you can go to McDonald's and get $16 an hour. To me, gosh, I would think at least $18 an hour what he should be making. For heaven's sakes.
And we noticed that as a big issue in hiring
Yes, it
somebody.
is.
When you're trying to hire somebody in, it's what he's made after 2 years, that's really hard for him to take, and he just did it with a smile on his face. So we're trying to hire somebody at $14.50, and, you know, he's only making 20, 30 cents more, that's,
So should we bump him up for like $18 an hour?
I would have a
What?
concern with that because I think that would be like a huge percentage increase.
Yeah, you
I
gotta
would
look at-
feel more comfortable if we, at the next regular increase cycle, evaluate all positions and the pay rates and make
We're pretty much
adjustments.
doing that right now, because we just did half the department, half of the employees, now we're doing the other half.
But when is the next one, in July?
Yeah, July
Yeah.
1st.
so they'll get their evaluation December-ish. Look at that at the beginning of spring.
So if we're gonna give them raises, I mean, let's talk about the position that they're in and what's reasonable.
Well, if we
Well-
bump him up because we say he's being underpaid for the position, then would we therefore also have to bump up the pay rate for the other DPW workers under the same reasoning that we aren't paying them?
How long has the other guy been here?
I was gonna
Less
say
than
maybe at a
90
90-day or
days.
6
Yeah,
months.
so-
that would be
He's not been here long. He hasn't even finished his probation.
That's why we did Bob. Bob was underpaid.
Yeah, I mean, how many years would it take from $15 an hour to get up to $18 an hour at 3% pay raise?
It's irrelevant. It's the market we're in.
Yeah, and that's what I said, if DPW labor is worth more than what we're offering, then we should just start the starting pay higher too.
That's a personnel
We should.
thing
I mean,
that should
Right.
Yeah, and I think that should be
Coming to
adjusted
council.
coming next year, where we can adjust all the employees based upon market rates if we feel it's necessary. Rather than bump one DPW up a significant amount and the other one stays very low.
Yeah,
Because
because
you're in the same situation, if this is a
It's
good
a
guy,
different
he's gonna
situation.
say, I can go, you know, this guy just got a big raise and I'm stuck way below him, I'm just gonna go work with McDonald's.
Yeah, you just start.
Well, what is your recommendation? I mean, I know we're throwing numbers around, but what is yours and Tony's or whoever's involved in all of this?
I think the
What is the
recommendation
recommendation?
is a 3% raise, according to this.
Yep,
What?
3% raise. I would say retroactive at least until October 3rd. Start there. That's the quarter mark of the year, October 1st. So
And we had a brief discussion on possible changing the job description for Scott, which would then be a chance to, if he's going
Reset.
to receive more responsibility, it would be a good chance for us to evaluate that.
yeah,
Currently, officially, job description-wise, they are the same, but responsibility-wise, he's well.
We know that's- there's a
outgrown that job
difference.
description.
yeah. And I reviewed. Oakland County publishes a pay scale for all of their positions, but you got to take it with a grain of salt in a lot of ways. But most start looking at different, from grounds equipment mechanic to groundskeeper to there's a variety of ways to. We need to fine tune Scott's job description to better fit what he actually does in a day.
Yeah.
So there wasn't like this job description. We should follow this pay scale for these reasons. It's all over the place. So
And those job descriptions come out of an actual published book from.
they do. Yep. Oakland
Yeah,
County publishes
so-
one every year.
Yeah. I forgot my train of thought, but thanks. I just want to make sure.
Yeah, it's a good gauge, but it's not the end all be all either. So
The one thing I was going to say, that's what I just remembered. Did you say you're doing a budget adjustment in January?
correct.
Okay.
Yeah, we'll have a bunch for January 1st.
Okay.
Where was the 3% that was recommended? Was it in this? Because I'm not seeing it. Was it
No,
supposed to be in
it's in
there?
this.
Okay, the thing we just received?
Yeah.
Okay,
Yes.
okay, gotcha. Well, I'm going to make a motion to give our treasurer a 3% increase to $25,794.50, retroactive October 3rd.
Support.
All right, we have a motion on the table, having some discussion.
What,
Anything else?
shouldn't that be the hourly rate of 2480 rather than?
What, all right,
The
what,
motion, you said 25,794.50, which is the annual.
annually.
And I was,
So it's
but she's paid
3%.
hourly at $24.80.
How would you like me to say it, Larry?
I think it makes more sense to give the actual hourly rate, because if she puts in overtime and stuff, that's gonna affect that.
Okay. So I'd like to amend my motion from 24.8 per hour to the hourly rate of 24.80, which is a 3% increase retroactive to October 3rd.
I'm good with that.
Yeah, it's just, he's.
That's fine.
Just in case she's working more less hours.
Yeah,
All
yeah.
right, good catch. Any other questions or comments or discussion on the motion?
Ryan, I just got a question, real quick. Those annual numbers, well, let's use the treasurers. That 25,794.50, that's based on the rest of this year? You know what I'm saying? Or
No,
is that
that's for 52 weeks
Okay.
at 20 hours per week for Beth and 35 for
Okay.
Scott.
Fair enough.
At that rate.
All right.
Any other questions? Anything, Jennifer?
What was the date? It's retroactive to?
October 3rd. Yeah.
I guess I do have one question. Brian, in Beth's case, is the idea originally was to retroactively reward employees that have been over and above beyond what their job duties entail for a retroactive period, and we're going back to October. In Beth's case, would it even be farther back? I'm just asking that. You can tell me whatever you feel.
You could make a case for that if you'd like.
I'm just wondering, because I get it, yeah.
I think to just stop and move on. I think to pick a date like October 3rd makes a lot of sense.
All right, that's fine. I'm good. Okay, thank you.
Are we ready for a vote? Randazzo?
Yes.
Dylas?
Yes.
George?
Yes.
Green?
Yes.
Hayden?
Yes.
Nivell?
Yes.
Price?
Yes. That motion carries 7-0.
Should we let Beth find out when she runs payroll next, or should we
Sure.
tell her?
No, I think you should tell.
And I hope we allow Ryan to actually give her that news.
Yeah.
Will do.
I make a motion to provide a pay raise to Scott, DPW Laborer 1, to the pay rate of $15.31 an hour, effective October 3rd.
Support?
All right, we have a motion on the table by trustee Hayden, supported by trustee Green. Do we have any questions, discussion?
Yeah, my 2 cents is just that the position needs to be redefined and then rated accordingly, as opposed to just giving them 3% now, just because he's doing a lot of stuff. He's doing a lot of stuff because his position needs to be redefined and then paid accordingly. I think that should just be done, not give him the 3% now and give him the other stuff later. I think that should just be done now.
Well, don't forget, he was the only laborer, and we did not have the position filled for quite a long time, which followed him, which wasn't a
Take the
position
time,
thing, that
give
was
him
just.
a raise, give him the right raise.
Right. Well, I was just mentioning, it wasn't just his job duties, it was,
Understood.
some of it was not in any
But we're
way.
giving him a raise because he's doing more work.
Well, we also, in personnel, we did discuss the possibility of creating a new title of like senior DPW laborer or something, or DPW laborer 2 or something like that, that would have additional responsibilities above.
That makes
senior
sense.
DPW laborer, and then that would justify a higher pay rate.
We also don't want him waiting on
But
us.
we didn't want to extend it out too long, so I think this is, we left it up to our personnel director, Ryan's discretion, how he wanted to handle it, and this is what he's proposing.
So I propose that we get that wrapped up by the next meeting so that we can just redefine his position and give him the right pay rate.
Are the job descriptions, are they, because we haven't seen anything yet from personnel, so are those almost completed? Where we can see them as a council?
Right now, they have not been changed from what was in the current job description.
So when we hired on this new employee, we did not have revised, updated job description.
Right.
That was not requested all from DPW, that was not requested all from the office.
Oh,
That
from
is
where?
From DPW or from the office to personnel. They were hired on with the job description that we have as the village.
Yeah,
And
I thought,
they agreed to at that time, too.
yeah, I
there
just
was no-
thought those were being worked on. Are
They
they,
are.
but they are being worked on, right?
Yeah, there's a working draft that the personnel
Okay.
committee is
And
working on.
that's December when we see all those then?
That's the goal.
Okay.
It's,
Okay.
Yep.
So
But
we have
I
a
don't-
motion on the table, and we have a support, so let's stay on topic. Do we have questions or comments for the motion?
From a discussion standpoint, I think Keith's proposal has merit. This just seems a little bit rushed to me to vote tonight. And do they deserve at least 3%? Sure. But I think what Keith is saying is, if we took another month and got it, if I was them and that in this other month, we're going to come up with something a little more even substantial, I would prefer to wait and do it in another month. And I would also prefer on that is during this time period to get Bob Huxfall's input, which I know he'd be very positive. I better be careful what I'm saying here. I don't want to quote him. But I would feel strongly that knowing Bob that I do and what he thinks of his employees, that Bob also would probably lean more toward your idea, Keith, to give it again, rather than a courtesy. 3% is to give it more of a substantial jump. So, yeah, I would prefer.
We have to keep in mind Bob's schedule, and Bob is busy, and we can't pull Bob and have him work on things. that aren't necessary
I would think he would welcome this.
So
To sit down for a half
But
hour and just say what he would like to do.
The manager
He's not here, but that's it.
this is what he has brought before us tonight, so we either approve it or we don't.
Okay.
But
The way I see
this
it.
is the discussion about whether we should approve it or not. And I guess I don't see why it would take more than 4 weeks just to redefine a title.
Because that's not the only thing they do in the office.
I understand that, Kay.
There's been a lot of crazy things going on. I mean, one thing after another has happened where we can't get to certain things.
Give me one. What one it will be. I'm serious.
Oh my gosh, there's been so much.
After the meeting. After the meeting.
So where does that leave us?
Well, we can take a vote and see.
And as I say, is there
where it
any
goes.
discussions or question? Are we ready for a vote?
What is the motion again?
To provide a pay raise to Scott, DPW laborer 1, to the pay rate of $15.31 per hour effective October 3rd.
Can I ask, did we use Beth's full name, the position? I would like to keep it consistent in the motion. Because I was thinking, should we include last name, but I wonder if we should include position or name.
It only said position for Beth's.
And it just said treasurer.
Yes, and
Are
it
you
stated.
comfortable just using the name, or would, are you good with it?
It's for the position.
Whatever's consistent.
Well, I just have a real quick question.
So just taking out Scott at DPW.
Is anybody else considered DPW labor 1?
We only have DPW laborer.
Yeah, singular.
So there's not a 1
So it
attached
should be,
to
So we
Scott.
can take the one off, and in the spreadsheet, it shows DPW.
No, but what I'm saying is, I mean, I get, and this is, I'm just clarifying it. Because if we use just DPW and not Scott's name, then that means that the other person can fall into that too. And we're trying to segregate this to Scott. So I'm just asking if Scott has that number 1 after his title.
In the minutes, we call him the more senior DPW laborer.
I mean, we've attached his name to that, right?
I think official title though, he's DPW.
It doesn't matter what his official title is, and what if we attached it to in a previous discussion?
I'd be comfortable saying Scott MacArthur.
Yes.
That's what I'm getting at.
Why
It
don't
should
you-
be,
Why don't
And
you
his
say,
address if you want.
say
I don't know where
both?
the two we're talking
About
about.
Scott MacArthur, DPW laborer, and then we have.
because we have 2 people that are
Right, but
actually,
keep his name with it, Scott MacArthur.
yeah, but it's easier just to
Modify my
not
original
that.
Okay.
I mean,
Say
title for right now.
Scott MacArthur,
Yeah.
DPW laborer. So full name
Pages
and
to support that.
Yes, but now I have concerns because we're giving it to a person and we're supposed to be doing the position. So,
But we don't have that technical
you mean if a
position.
new person came in, we wouldn't pay them this rate, we'd start them down low
Exactly.
again?
Right.
Oh?
That's what we,
Based
that's what
on,
we
based on
did.
experience and.
That's why I'm saying we have to stipulate Scott's name.
So what our discussion was is this person has taken on additional responsibilities, this person has additional job duties, so therefore let's please marry
This
that.
phrase is
It wasn't the
specific to
position,
one
it was a person.
I'm just including the position in the motion. to
I get that,
specify.
Barry. I understand that perfectly, thank you.
Okay.
So do you still, are you comfortable supporting that?
That's fine.
All right, are we ready for a vote? All right, Jen, please.
Dialis?
No.
George?
Yes.
Green?
Yes.
Hayden?
Yes.
Nivell?
No?
Randazzo?
Yes.
Bryce?
Yes. Thank you, that motion carries 5-2.
And just for the record, it's not about Scott.
Right.
I would have liked for personnel to come back with the actual position description and a different increase than
Well,
what
they're
is
still
there.
gonna do that, aren't they? I thought.
Correct.
I mean, I thought that was.
Tony, did you have anything else for your minutes? I mean, your committee?
I didn't hear it, and I know we already voted, but was there anything in the last motion about a date, a retro date?
Effective October 4th.
Oh, okay, I didn't hear that. Okay, no,
Good question.
I didn't hear it either, Tony. Thank you.
I think that's it.
Thank you.
Can I ask another question related to the personnel committee? You said you'd like that to still be pursued. Is there a time frame when you would want to have results from that back?
I honestly, I was under the impression that in December, we were going to be getting all the information back from personnel to review, that you guys have been working on that, so that would be part of it. I'm assuming, right? Is that?
I would like to leave that up to Ryan and Bob to tell personnel when they meet what is a good time frame for them. Because personnel has not pursued it besides the discussion that it looks like the position has been outgrown. We need to pursue that. There's been nothing in any of our minutes that have said we're working on that. And I really, that belongs in the office with what that job description should be and then come to us and then come to us. To where I don't think we should necessarily put a time frame on unless Ryan is ready for one.
And actually, the personnel policy updates are more focused on the policies because there's a lot of outdated policies or just missing policies. That's what we were focusing on, more rather than rewriting the job descriptions, more on updating the policies themselves.
Okay.
Can I make a motion? Anything I want?
Yeah.
I just
Well, as long
remembered
as it's-
something.
Except, at this point, hold on. Tony, you had the, are you finished?
I just want to make sure that we're, at least if we're going to do these titles, that it's, I know there's a book of legal terms, if you will, for different positions. So I just hope that's what we're going to use. We're not just going to guess. And you know, that's what I'm trying to get at. Is I know there's a book of job listings, and it's not just Oakland County. It's I think it's through Michigan.
The MML has a
Okay.
generic job description. We
Well,
kind of
this one
hone
is
ours
this
down
one's more.
Guessing
This
got it
is
this far.
something that you can use in court for a job description. So.
Sure.
Are we going to court?
And is the,
All right, so Keith, you have the floor next.
So, I guess, Ryan, do I need to make a motion to have that position reevaluated with a new title and proposed rate for the December meeting, or can that just be added to your to-do list, or?
If you want for the December meeting, yes, because between now and then I plan to do annual evaluations for all the employees.
Okay.
As well as whatever other fires pop up in the meantime. So if you want to make a motion, I would be more than happy to provide
Make a
that
motion
come
for you
the
to do that,
December
or-
meeting.
Or just asking you to do that, is that enough? I don't know.
You can ask, yeah, I'll get it together.
so then all the job descriptions are done by you? Is that not personnel, but by village manager? Is that the new process?
A new process? Is that the question?
I didn't hear it.
Oh, just, so all the job descriptions are done by the village manager, not by personnel committee?
I thought they were done by all four of us. I thought it was done by the personnel committee.
I thought so too. So that's why I'm asking.
With the use
Because now
of-
Ryan has it on his plate, so.
With the book that I'm talking about.
And Personnel Committee would work with the village manager as Personnel Director to work on that.
Okay, so you guys will come up with something and give it to Ryan to review, and you guys will work together then?
Yeah, or we collaborate somehow.
Yeah, all right, cool.
My only concern, oh wait, we have a motion.
No motion was
He
made.
was just our question.
Yeah, my only concern with the December timeframe, as Ryan said, is it's a busy time of year, I think, and especially with holidays and things like that. I think it's gonna be challenging.
It doesn't matter, Larry. We'll have it.
It's always hot fires.
I
Nonstop.
would feel much more comfortable with it by January. So,
Especially when if we're doing evaluations, it would make a lot of sense to try to do that at the same time.
yeah, but I mean, anything that comes of those evaluations would probably come up in the January anyway.
Then go to personnel, then personnel, and we're searching through it, so. Get it done.
Are you good? Are you good with all of them? Okay, all right. Okay, cool.
All right,
Thank you.
so Melanie, you're on to you.
Okay, committee
Committee
updates.
updates.
Planning Commission, our last meeting included Carlisle Wortman to review the zoning ordinance questions and issues and next steps. And I wanted to thank Kay, Keith, and Larry for attending. Our next meeting will be December 7th. And wayfinding minutes are in the packet of the meeting we have with the Lakota Group and the schedule that we took them through. Members of the DDA attended the group meetings. Other than myself and Patty Olson, who was PC rep, unfortunately, PC or village council members weren't able to attend, and I believe probably because it was during the day, and I understand that. But if there are any questions that anyone has, they can get those to Ryan, and he will make sure Lakota answers those. And Heritage Garden, we are having a meeting on Monday, November 29th with Ron Campbell from Oakland County. And this is strictly just for committees, right?
Is he the architect?
Yeah.
Yes.
He's a historical preservation county architect. He does it all. He's a
/
one-man band. That's why
Yep,
we're meeting next week instead of 3 months ago.
yeah. Yeah, he's a one-man show over there, honestly, for Oakland County. Yeah, crazy, right?
Anything else?
That's it, thank you.
All right, thank you very much.
Question about planning commission. Have they got an updated draft master plan back from Heather yet?
Not that I'm aware of, and Ryan would know better than I. I have not seen it, though.
Yes. I've received one. We're going back and forth with McKenna on updates, and you, as part of the master plan committee, are part of that conversation, Larry. John from McKenna and I have been trading calls for the last 2 weeks, so we haven't nailed
I still
down.
owe you some notes that
Yes.
IT committee, we have not met. I set up some scheduled meeting this month. It's been rather busy and hectic. I will get a meeting scheduled. I think I would welcome any input from you guys on what topics IT related would be important. I have a couple in mind already, but I welcome your input too in terms of any IT topics that you would like to see us discuss. That's it.
Do you have the microphone thing that we mentioned last meeting? Getting some type of microphone or audio. I know we can borrow Tony's, but is that something for IT or no? Is that
Yeah.
something totally different? I'm not sure who does that.
I know we've talked about that in the past about equipment setup here, but that seems like that is, since we're not doing Zoom meetings, it's not as urgent now.
Okay.
That person, they're doing recordings.
Yeah.
But
No.
it's still a valid point. We should still probably have something. That's it for me.
Thank you very much. We will move on to Katie's.
The only thing I have to report is that we had anticipated hopefully having the beautification award winners here before the meeting tonight, but it did not work out. And I hesitate to do it at Christmas time, so now, we're probably looking at January or February. And that's to be determined. That's all, thank you.
Thank you.
Yep, regarding the Historical Society, obviously gearing up like a lot of people around town for the Christmas festivities coming up. And I think per usual, I think this is usually what happens. Old Mill, of course, will have baked goods and coffee and hot cocoa. Blacksmith shop, which might be a good place to visit and warm up, we'll be doing demonstrations, and that'll be the first time, this year will be the first time that's happened. Man Schoolhouse has the annual photo with Santa sled, and we'll be doing that. And once the Christmas festivities are done, they'll be pretty much shutting down shop for the rest of the season, which again is traditional. And the last thing I'll say, I feel kind of bad coming to the end of a year, but there's some much needed improvements that could be made on some of those buildings, and unfortunately, again, with a shortage of skilled labor and things like that, they just haven't been able to happen. So they're going to get pushed back. I feel kind of bad about that, but that's that. And senior center, also at the Christmas festivities, and I've been there before on this. I have the craft and bake sale. They got some interesting items in there, and that's pretty much it.
Can I add to that, Pat? That
Yes.
I didn't include it in my report, but part of the roof on the old mill was damaged by wind a couple of weeks ago, and it'll be worked on. That half's going to be replaced starting next week.
Oh,
It's
boy.
an ongoing fun one. It's an insurance
Woo, woo.
claim and yada yada. So that and a few of the other maintenance issues are being addressed,
Okay.
including the alarm that goes off all too often.
Good.
So,
Good.
Yeah.
Okay. Thank you.
Working
Yeah.
on it.
Yeah. Okay. Thank you.
The streets committee did not meet this month. Ryan, we're still waiting to see that report from the engineer on Mill Street.
Me too.
So obviously you haven't heard back from them recently.
No. I'll share it as soon as I got it.
Okay.
Yeah.
And then there was, yeah, I guess that's in the weekly report.
That's the big, yeah.
All right, that's it.
Can I ask a question? When you do next meet, would you be able to review those pace reports on the roads and possibly try to see what things might need to be plugged into the capital improvement plan? What years and stuff, so we can start looking at that?
Absolutely. Although the planning commission is a capital improvement plan, the planning commission should be taking the roads report and listing out the capital improvement plans as part of the planning commission exercise. And they should not should be working. I guess the top.
Yeah.
And not should be working.
Yeah, but I mean, at least they should get the input from the streets committee on what things will need to be done at the streets committee.
The report tells you.
It's a both and, yeah. Lee's the planning commission rep on streets, so there'll be some back and forth there.
Yeah.
All right, thank you. The DDA has been very busy as usual. Just a reminder, the Christmas schedule is in your packet. Friday evening, Christmas in the Village will be 4 to about 9:30 p.m. if you include the movie. Saturday is 1 to 4. Keep an eye out for an email with volunteer requests to help downtown. It's kind of extended actually from Shop Small Saturday on. Every single day there's something going on. So keep an idea when you look at your volunteer list, it's not just that Friday, Saturday. They have continued with the Main Street 101 four-part training, just began this morning. It will continue through December, so again, 4 parts on that they've been working on. It's kind of a retraining. It's a refresher done every 3-4 years. The accreditation is January 13th, so keep an eye out for an invite. Mark that date on your calendar. There will be a specific time in which board members are requested to come. It's about an hour, so if you can kind of come and give input, that would be fabulous. I know some of us have been there before.
All
Spent
day.
some time.
All day.
Some people
Like where's
drink
Waldo?
all day.
Where's
The
Waldo?
snacks are amazing. So if you don't mind, just jot me on your calendar more info to come. So the focus right now is Christmas in the Village and all of those wonderful assets that come along with that. So keep that in mind. And side note, Keith, evidently your email is not correct with DDA, so we need to get that settled. I was requested to get your email settled. And that is about it for them right now. Like I said, just the main thing is getting everything together for the preparation the next couple of weeks. So you may get some odd question. Did you help with this, or farmers market that, or so if somebody's giving you an email or a phone call, just kind of clarify something, keep that in. All right, that is all I have for now.
Well, fire authority.
Yeah, so do we want to fire authority Matt, and we'll be discussing things in a few minutes. RRC
Stay tuned.
was a little short-handed. 2 of us played hooky, and so the 2 of them were able to catch up on some things, and so there will be no minutes, but scheduled meeting earlier than planned in December. So keep an eye out for that. I think that's it. Anything else you want
Talk
to add?
RRC later as well.
Well, that was. All right. Anybody else, anything you thought of, committee members? Questions, comments? All right. We are wrapping that up and moving on to the public hearing. And the purpose of our public hearing is to review community development and housing needs, inform citizens of the ability of funds and eligibility that uses community development block grant funds, to receive comments on proposed projects. Approximately $8,482 is available this year this round to the Village of Ortonville to find eligible projects that benefit the low-income households and persons with special needs. Excuse me, at this time, we would look to entertain a motion to enter into the public hearing.
Make a motion motion to leave the regular scheduled meeting and go into public hearing at 7:50.
Support?
Can you repeat that second one, please? 7:55.
All right, we have a motion on the table by trustee Green, supported by trustee Nyvel. Questions or comments? All right, we're ready for vote, please.
George,
Yes.
Green,
Yes.
Hayden,
Yes.
Nivell,
Yes.
Randazzo,
Yes.
Silas,
Yes.
Rice.
Yes. Thank you. What we would like to do now is to open it up to the floor for anyone who is interested to speak on the CDBG grant availability. Anybody?
We're not gonna let him speak.
They already asked, Bob MacArthur, Chairman of Brandon Groveland Youth Assistance is the organization that your CDBG funds have been allocated to. Maybe to clarify right at the beginning, we're setting on quite a bit of CDBG funds currently from 2019, 2020, 2021. And we are in the process. I have, probably in the next week, I'll be submitting for 3,000 of that to be reimbursed. So you're going to see that come through, which still leaves us around $4,000 to $5,000 that we're setting on CDBG money. With that, the programs that we have had scheduled or planned on through COVID obviously did not occur. There was tutoring programs, a lot of sports programs didn't occur, and which obviously cut us right off of having programs to spend on. Following that, meetings with the school, we thought this was all going to fire right back up again because obviously the kids need as much tutoring and assistance as that could possibly be provided. And what it's done is that this grant money that municipalities are getting, the school received also. And if they don't use it, they lose it. So obviously the report to me was, hey, we'd love to do these programs, but we're spending our money first. We want to use up this grant money so we don't run out. So with that, we've done a program with, and Dave, let me know when I get close to 3 minutes. We're doing a program on low-income areas for a tutoring program that may not be done through the school. We're also doing, I've been told by the administration that they are definitely going to do swing programs currently soon through the Christmas holiday and through the winter period that will bring kids in so they can have a 3-hour session that they won't have to pay for. And again, that's all on the low-income side of it, which we all know predominantly right around 60% of the schools qualifies for that. So no matter what program we do, we definitely get students to come to it. We're working with Brandon Recreation to get a summer baseball and soccer camp program out of the park. And there we typically get most everybody qualified and to do that. We also have a program with a faith-based group that we've supported in the past with a few programs, but they are now they have a program that they're meeting with approximately 20 kids once a week, and they come there for they do a little bit of game business. They have a period of faith-based training and also incorporating that
family, educational type things of dealing with the family. Thank goodness your clerk. And I want you to know the clerks, both the township and the village clerks, are the saviors for these programs, because all municipalities do not assign this to the clerk. A lot of them do the village manager to manage the CDBG. They have the village president, they have the treasurers, and they have council members that manages. And both our municipalities, the clerks do it probably where it should be at. But Jenna has already worked on a lot of the programs. I found a couple of my mistakes and got our money the way that it was supposed to be received. So we're looking forward. Did he leave on my?
Yeah, he'd heard enough.
So what I'm getting at is, you know, we may not need as much money. We need it, but I'm not sure I can use it in the years that it's specified. But the village does have, and the clerk will have the opportunity to extend those contracts. I think for a 1-year extensions, I think you can get on them, and so that we can keep adding it on. So if these programs come about, you know, then we're going to unload on the money in a hurry. The township, it's easy. We have one big program, Challenge Day at the high school, which pretty much Shelby's on the committees. Thank God I got younger people here.
Memories.
But that program is just about all of the township's money because it's 13 and over. The village, you are doing 12 and under, which is hard to get a lot of kids to do. With that, at some point, when you sign the money, I would be appreciate at least an opportunity to see if we're moving forward and using some of that money up, more of it, when you assign an actual dollar amount to any one of the programs. Thank you.
Thanks, Bob.
Thank you very much. We appreciate it.
I'm sorry?
You can stay at the end of the meeting.
I wouldn't miss him talking over it.
I want to speak to you later.
Okay.
Thank you, we appreciate it. Anyone else at this time? Did they have one? Okay. You also received in your packet a letter from Haven. Last year they did join us virtually. This year, unfortunately, they have not been able to join us. You've had a chance to read through the letter. For the public, I will just highlight. It says our agency is again reaching out to you for support for our work with even greater need as we assume the burden of increased clientele and additional staff to maintain the virtual services. We ask that you continue to support these families through a community development block grant of $2,500 for the fiscal year 2021-2022. Please remember that the federal government presumes that the domestic violence victims are considered to be low income and therefore qualify for inclusion in the block grant public service request. And the letter is addressed to us from Mary Ann Dwyer. She is the Director of Finance. And we received that on November 15, 2021 as a CDBG grant request. Anything else from the public? All right. I believe we are ready to resume the public meeting.
Make a motion to close the public meeting and resume the normal session.
Support.
4 p.m. We have a motion on the table by Trustee Hayden, supported by Trustee, was that Mendoza?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yes.
Any questions or comments? Jenna, please.
Green,
Yes.
Hayden,
Yes.
Nineholt,
Yes.
Randazzo,
Yes.
Dialis,
Yes.
George,
Yes.
Rice.
Yes. Thank you. That motion carries 7-0 as well. We thank everybody for their input. Item 12 this evening is unfinished business. For the November agenda, there is nothing unfinished, which brings us to new business. Item number 1 is the Brandon Fire Department, and bear with us through items A, B, C, D, and E, and we will begin with the engineer medic open position. And we have Chief Wapas with us this evening.
Good evening. So, we've had an individual that has resigned from the department as a full-time engineer medic. He has gone on to Warren Fire Department, so we're looking to fill that position. We had 2 candidates that were included or sent in applications after the deadline for the initial hiring that we did. And so the first person on there is Julie Sherrod. We're looking to hire her with her start date November 29th, which is next Monday.
I'll make a motion to hire Julie Sherrod with a start date of November 29th, 2021.
Support.
We have a motion on the table by trustee Green, supported by trustee Hayden. Do we have any questions or comments for Chief Wapas?
I do. So, the guy that just wanted to see the guy.
No. No.
This is different.
This is a different guy. Okay. Different guy.
Anyone else? Are we ready for a vote?
Hayden,
Yes.
Nigel,
Yes.
Randazzo,
Yes.
Dylas,
Yes.
George,
Yes.
Green,
Yes.
Bryce.
Yes. That motion carries 7-0. Congratulations from us. Item B is the fire marshal building inspector position.
So next up, this is going to be a joint employee, if you will, between the township and the fire department. What this individual is going to be responsible for is doing fire inspections, being the fire marshal for Brandon Fire Department, as well as doing building inspections and being the building inspector for Brandon Township. So we'll split those costs. You have everything in your packet. What we did is I posted for that. We have 1 applicant. That individual is Jason Wilton. He met all the requirements. And that the requirements are you have to be a fire inspector, you have to be a building inspector, you have to be a plan reviewer for both building and fire protection systems, as well as having the experience of being a licensed builder, which he met all of that with lots of experience and an extensive building background. A couple other things. Jason also is a graduate of the Eastern Michigan University Fire Staff Command, and he has many years in the fire service, so as well as the building industry. The fire authority has met, Brandon Township Board has approved that, so there's 2 recommended motions there.
I make a motion to, Jason's a lieutenant right now, right?
Correct. There's the 2 motions are there, Tony.
That's what we're trying to find.
Yeah,
Under
that's right.
recommend, no, motion number 1 there.
I can do it, Tony.
Oh, I see something.
Got it?
Okay, to create a split position with the Brandon Township Building Department and Brandon Fire Department as a Brandon Fire Department employee, fire marshal, building inspector with the pay schedule as attached.
Support.
We have a motion on the table by trustee Randazzo, supported by trustee George. Any questions or comments for Chief Wapas?
Yeah, I guess my question is did you talk to the village manager at all about standing in on that too?
There has been some discussions, and we are going to, actually, the village manager has asked if we would take a look further into it that next year. And we said that we would be happy to do so.
Come budget time.
Sorry, I don't know.
You're fine.
Okay, thank you.
You took all my notes.
Thank you, Brian.
Any other questions, comments? Jenna, please.
Nigel,
Yes.
Randazzo,
Yes.
Dylas,
Yes.
George,
Yes.
Green,
Yes.
Hayden,
Yes.
I'd like to
You're
make
looking for
a
secondary?
motion for the the recommendation of the second motion to fill the position with Lieutenant Medic Jason Moulton to start as determined by Fire Chief and scheduling after January 1st, 2022.
Support.
We have a motion on the table by trustee Randazzo, supported by trustee Green. Questions or comments for Chair Thomas?
Yeah, Jason. Yeah, he'll be real good.
Randazzo,
Yes.
Dylas,
Yes.
George.
Yes.
Green.
Yes.
Hayden.
Yes.
Nyhout.
Yes.
Price.
Yes. That motion carries 7-0. Please congratulate me for us. Next up is C, the lieutenant medic and engineer medic open positions.
Well, since you just made the previous motions, to create a split position and to move Lieutenant Medic up to, Bolton up to Fire Marshal, Building Inspector Bolton, that leaves a vacancy. So we need to move everybody up. We always start at the bottom. We had an extra individual, David Mojica. So we'd like to put him in as an engineer medic. The next promotion person and the last one is engineer medic Ed Neeson. He's the last one on the list. So what we'd like to do is, I think the first motion is to hire David Mojica, suggested motion. The second one would be to promote engineer medic Eddie Neeson to lieutenant medic Neeson.
Make a motion to hire David Mojica to start as determined by the fire chief and scheduling after January 1st, 2022.
Support.
We have a motion on the table by trustee Green, supported by trustee Nyveld. Any questions or comments? Judge, please.
Dylas,
Yes.
George.
Yes.
Green.
Yes.
Hayden.
Yes.
Nyhout.
Yes.
Randazzo.
Yes.
Price.
Yes. That motion carries 7-0.
I'd like to make a motion. The second motion to promote engineer medic Eddie Neeson to lieutenant medic Neeson to start as determined by the fire chief and scheduling after January 1st, 2022.
Support.
We have a motion on the table by trustee Randazzo, supported by trustee Green. Questions or comments? Please.
George.
Yes.
Green.
Yes.
Hayden.
Yes.
Nyhout.
Yes.
Randazzo.
Yes.
Dylas.
Yes.
Price.
Yes. And that motion carries 7-0. Please send our congratulations.
All right.
Item D is on the firefighter EMT to engineer medic position.
If you remember, when we were doing the budget meeting, we were talking about that we were going to have to make some changes to the millage rate and hire in personnel to train and get them up to that medic part. So that's what you have in front of you, is the plan to do that. We have posted internally. We have tested. We've gone through the interview process. You can see all the scores. We had 4 internal staff apply for 3 positions. The really unfortunate part and the really sad part and sometimes difficult part of this job is when you have 4 people that are interested in 3 positions and all 4 are really good candidates, it makes it really tough. It would have been really nice to be able to say, hey, I have 4 positions and I have 4 applicants. And it says a lot to the individuals that are willing to go through this process. This is going to be a 1.5 years of very intense school for them, as well as having to work shifts and be a responder during the rest of their time. So it's a lot. I've been through the class. I would not want to take it again. That's why I keep my license up. Anyways, but all 4 of them are really good candidates. You can see the scores if you have any questions. I'll be happy to answer that. But it came down to the top 3 were Ken MacArthur, Jeffrey, and Ryan Setzer for the top 3 individuals. So with that, you have a motion, suggested motion there to hire those 3 They would start again in January with a date to be determined. The paramedic course, the paramedic course will start January 3rd. So they're going to be right off, and they go 2 days a week, and they're going to have some Saturdays for a year and a half.
Ouch.
So,
Yeah.
I'm done. Sorry.
I make a motion to hire the top 3 candidates, Tim MacArthur, Jeff Green, and Ryan Setzer, from the testing and interview process starting January 3rd, 2022.
Support?
We have a motion on the table by trustee Renzo, supported by trustee Hayden. Do we have any questions or comments for Chief Wallace? John, please.
Green,
Yes.
Hayden,
Yes.
Nivell,
Yes.
Randazzo,
Yes.
Silas,
Yes.
George,
Yes.
Price.
Yes. Thank you. That motion carries 7-0. Please tell them good luck for us.
I will.
All right. Item E is the paramedic program fees.
So with that, we have to pay for the paramedic class. There will be a contract. It is important that I do bring that up, that there is a contract and a promissory note that each one of these individuals will have to sign. The township attorney, Stu Cooney, has already written that. The township board has approved the contract as it stands and the promissory note. So, with that, the cost is going to be a roughly $6,000. It's going to be less than that, but it's going to be per student. So I need to move $18,000 from our 210, our ambulance budget, carry forward fund to our account of 210-173-746-000, with those funds to be moved, to be used for the paramedic program.
I'd like to make a motion to transfer $18,000 from 210 ambulance fund, carry forward to training 210.173.746.000.
Support.
We have a motion on the table by trustee Nyland, supported by trustee Randazzo. Do we have any questions or comments for Chief Wallace?
How come you get all the easy ones?
Right?
All right, John, please.
Hayden,
Yes.
Nivell,
Yes.
Randazzo,
Yes.
Silas,
Yes.
George,
Yes.
Green,
Yes.
Price.
Yes. And that motion carries 7-0 as well. We thank you very much. We always love how prepared, how analytical, and how on the ball you guys are. And I also am super excited that all of our candidates are local. They may not all be current Brandon Fire Department employees, but they are local, and I absolutely love that people want to come home when they were counseling.
Yes.
So we're
absolutely.
excited.
No, and I want to thank the village council as well. So again, thanks for your support. And these individuals are, it's going to be fun. It's going to be fun seeing them. Come January 1st, Brandon Fire Department is going to be a really different fire department. We're going to have a lot more personnel. And that brings good and bad things. So I'm looking forward to it.
Thank you very much.
Thanks,
Thank
Chief.
you.
And I think that was the
love
same
the
amount of
idea.
time as Bob MacArthur, but I'm not going to.
Hey, hey.
Little younger than Tom.
Fighting words right there.
We appreciate you both. Thank you. All right, next up is the volunteer appreciation night. So we will start with who? Which one is it? We're going to turn that over to Millie Knight,
All
please.
right. Okay, so Volunteer Appreciation Night, it's exactly the letter I put in the packet. So I'll just read the letter. So without volunteers, we would not be able to do those things that make our village unique and special. Volunteers are vital, yet we have nothing in place to thank them and show our appreciation. So the idea behind the Volunteer Appreciation Night would do just that. We can recognize the efforts of DDA, CERT, Old Mill volunteers, etc., by inviting them to coffee and desserts, or to be determined, whatever that should be, and at a place we decide, whether it's Old Town Hall or, again, to be determined, and award the volunteers with a certificate thanking them for their contributions. Finding volunteers is always a challenge in our community, but I've noticed that holding on to them is even more difficult, and we need to start just appreciating them and letting them know we see them and we know what they're doing. And right now, we have nothing in motion to do that. So with council's approval, I would like to coordinate with several of the organizations in our community to create a list of volunteers that would be recognized and hear suggestions on what they may have as an idea. I know DDA at one time was thinking of, I don't know if it was a garden party or something to thank their volunteers. Well, we should be thanking them. I don't think the DDA should have to put together their own volunteer thank you when they are the volunteers. And I think the council should actually do that on behalf of the council for them as well. So we were looking at maybe February to do something, but again, that would be to be determined if we go forward with this and talk with the other groups. So I'm just looking to see if you feel it's a good idea to do from this council or not, or suggestions.
I think it's a great idea, yeah.
I agree.
Yeah, I think it's a great idea, and hopefully we can also maybe get good coverage of the event by local paper too, so that the word can get out, so other people who might be considering volunteering will hear the good word and maybe think about joining those volunteers.
Yeah, and that's why DDA they're pivotal in talking with them to see what they're doing. So I'm not trying to step on anyone's toes. I'm just really coming up with an idea.
Committees too.
Yes.
All volunteers. So
All volunteers. Well, sir, you and Tony, sir, have you ever been recognized and thanked? I don't know. So I thought maybe this would be a nice tradition that this particular council starts, and hopefully it continues through, many years. But I thought it would be something nice from this council.
Do we need to make a motion on it?
There's no money being spent. I guess it's just the idea of
Yeah, well,
what should we do? Do you
Well, I was
need-
going to say, it's kind of up to, do you want to say, hey, we'd like to form a committee to start coming up with ideas? If you're talking about, meeting with refreshments, there will be money spent.
Okay.
That can go back to Ryan out of, his discretionary choice, or it can be, hey, we'd like a committee to decide how a budget. So I definitely think if that's something we're looking long-term, there does need to be a group of people, because multiple people will take to put on in their mind. So, have some people commit, and it can change up, grow, whatever you choose.
Okay.
Along the lines, but definitely.
So yes, a motion.
yeah.
I'd like to make a motion to create a volunteer appreciation night committee to recognize volunteers within Ortonville, right, Ortonville, Brandon, Ortonville
Community.
community.
Support.
Would that be correct that would have to be a subcommittee? Our committees are designated
Oh,
committees?
yes, subcommittee.
That'd be the only thing I could see.
Okay.
Okay. All right. So a motion on the table by trustee Randazzo, supported by trustee Green. Excuse me. Total initial thoughts or ideas or anything for that to go down?
So Melanie, so I just made a motion.
So,
And it was supported.
was this,
Okay. Melanie, I guess where would how would the committee be made? Would it be a person from each one of these?
no, I'm thinking it would just be from council, because it's this council as a whole thanking all the
Well, I'd be
volunteers.
happy to
No, I
help
mean-
you work on it. Too.
I was thinking that you were, okay, I thought you were doing individual, but you're doing group. You're doing a group.
We would talk with all the groups, because they all have their specific volunteers, and I don't know who all those are. So DDA has a list of theirs, Mill, CERT.
So yeah,
Yeah, so we'd have to get a list of volunteers that they would like to have acknowledged.
So wouldn't it be that somebody from each one of those groups would?
No.
No?
We just need to get a list
Just a
from
little,
them,
oh,
yeah.
I see what you're, okay.
Yeah.
And then we would make. the
Yes.
vote. I-
One evening with everybody, the same evening.
Yes,
So,
yeah.
So who's ever in charge of that given group would turn something in to us as council, and then we would vote on that.
So the subcommittee that we're forming, it's up to this subcommittee to
Okay.
get those lists and plan the date and, you know, what are we giving certificates, you know, that kind of,
Okay.
yeah. You want to work on it?
So should we
Sure.
specify the makeup of the committee, like something to the effect of chaired by one council member and other committee members?
No, just have a subcommittee.
Simple
Just simple.
Yeah.
subcommittee.
Okay.
Yes, Lonnie, to answer your question.
Any other questions or specific thoughts or anything at this point? So Melanie, are you looking for who's interested? Did you want to shout out or contact me?
Yeah, Tony and Kay just said, would anybody, and it doesn't, I mean, anybody could
Right. I would
help.
like to as well.
Yeah, anybody could help.
Anybody else?
Okay, so let's do that.
Volunteers.
I mean, honestly, the more hands, the simpler, because
Absolutely.
Ryan.
that way all of us could.
Oh, Ryan wants to help.
Yes, Ryan wants it on his list.
I want to
can tell.
comment, once there's 4 members of village council together, it's an open meeting.
That's true.
Okay.
You
You're
gotta be
right.
careful with that.
Okay, but we could do 2 people doing this
Up
and
to
2 people
3
doing
at a
that,
time.
kind of.
And all committees, it's,
Yes.
well, it doesn't matter.
Or
All
look at
committees
each
and
other.
subcommittees are to be held in public and to be minutes, and so
Turn in
you're
minutes.
covering all that.
Okay,
Yeah, fair.
okay, so whoever would like then,
You can put mine.
Send Melanie.
yeah. Yeah, because I'm sure all of you will have ideas and suggestions, and that would be great, please.
So
I'm
we-
assuming that the committee lead would be Melanie and whoever
It was
else.
her idea.
Find out when they meet.
Yeah.
So at this time, we have a motion on the table and a support. Do we have any other specific questions on the motion before?
That's good.
Done, please.
Nivell,
Yes.
Randazzo,
Yes.
Dilus,
Yes.
George,
Yes.
Green,
Yes.
Hagan,
Yes.
Rice.
Thank you. That motion carries 7-0. Thank you very much, and we're looking forward to hearing you.
Thank you. That'll be a nice tradition from this council, so thank you. Thank you for doing that.
Thanks for bringing it up.
Item number 3 is the Christmas in the Village discussion, which will start with Manager Mattis, please.
All right, your packet contains the schedule of events for Christmas in the Village for Friday, December 3rd and Saturday, December 4th, as well as information about the 2021 Ortonville Christmas Parade from Brandon Township Parks and Rec. I don't know that we need a motion on this particular agenda item. We wanted to make sure that all of our bases are covered. So I didn't write a memo or anything to detail the steps that have been taken. There's lots of energy, lots of things that happen around Christmas in the Village. The items we wanted to make sure we discussed were luminaries and Christmas Eve, which is not a Christmas in the Village item. So we can come back to that one. But are there any other things we need to discuss as far as volunteering in the parade on December 4th? I know there was some conversation via email, but not a lot. I don't know if there was any resolution as to what the village council role is going to be in the parade on the 4th. So I bring it to you now.
And I'll quickly mention, the DDA is sending out the request for volunteers as well, and that is one of the items.
Yes.
That assisting the characters in the parade. But that is one of the requests.
So is council walking or no? Because if we're not walking, then I'll be a character.
Yeah.
But,
Well,
so,
I have the
That's
same
a tough
question.
decide.
because I know we discussed a float, we said we didn't want to do a float, but I assumed that we would all still be walking.
Nobody answered the response that I sent out.
hold on,
Except for two
Wait, I think
people.
Don and I
The
did.
rest of you did not answer, so that to me said you didn't want to do anything, so that's what I went with.
Well-
Was you didn't want to do anything.
Well, that's not quite true.
Well, nobody responded, what else could I get?
Well, I have a very important role.
Well, all right,
He's
that's good for
assisting
you.
the characters.
It's the highlight of my political career.
So what do you want to do, Pat? Do you want to walk as a council or
Well,
be
I don't
Woody?
know how do the Disney characters work? I mean, but
Do you-
I should be part of the Disney characters,
That's
I
not
guess.
part of the council, though. That's
Yeah,
part
yeah,
of
that's a
DDA.
different-
Oh, I can only be one place.
Oh,
I get that. I'm just trying to explain, it's,
okay.
But you really won't be there.
Tony, can you
Oh,
walk council?
that's
or-
a possibility too.
You're in CERT. You're doing CERT.
Well, actually, if we're gonna be walking the parade as a council, I will be walking the parade as a council.
What do you want to do? Can you walk? Or you can-
well, and I don't know, Melanie, because I already signed up, to do the DDA because no one.
Oh, see, and I waited. I haven't signed up because I was waiting.
If we're gonna be walking, I'll walk. If we're gonna
Right.
be not walking, I might sign up to do a DDA.
have no
Wow.
clue.
I did not sign up because I waited to hear what we were doing, so then I'll sign.
Well, I sent it out and get a 10-day
Good.
deadline, but
Right.
even, it's been a month or
I know.
more now, so I figured when
I'm
you
with
didn't
you, girl.
respond, that you had nothing to say about it, and I even put in there, even if you don't want to do anything, let me know, and I didn't get a response back.
I'll
so.
come over and visit.
Okay, so please contact the DDA as soon as possible.
Okay.
We'd like to help with characters
Yeah.
in the Christmas parade.
I think I'm
Or
gonna
any,
be on.
there's lots of volunteer opportunities. There's a form you can fill out that was shared earlier today that we'll make sure you get tomorrow.
So what does that mean that we're not walking as a council?
That's correct.
That's correct.
I think everybody's pulling
Yeah,
different
no,
directions and everything.
I see on that, Katie.
Okay, with that, I also want to discuss luminaries and Christmas Eve. I'm working on ordering all the supplies for that. The sand's already been ordered. Do we need to discuss that in any detail? I've never done it before.
Who's
I'm still
doing
the
it?
newbie.
Just verifying that we're same day, same time.
It's on for, it'd be in the morning on the 24th, is that correct?
Assemble the
Assembly?
23rd.
Okay.
And I put out the 24th.
Okay.
If that's what we're planning.
With volunteers, with the prisoners.
Who is doing it? Because I had listed that.
This is what we did
It was
last
told that the-
Anybody in the community
Nice.
is welcome.
I-
office was doing it. I know, but if nobody in the community comes, who does it? Ryan?
I'm not sure.
Who's never done it before?
I hate the 7:30.
You know,
Never
it's
had a
curious.
problem.
Got a lot of bags to fill, right?
I know I'm busy that day, but
With the intent to do it, we will pursue it, and in our December packet, I'll have more information. That'll give us time to still get it in the Citizen to make sure the word is out there. That we need. Actually, no, we meet on the 20th of December.
Wait a minute.
I'll follow up with more solicitation of volunteers.
So we meet at 7:30 on the 23rd. Could we make that just a little later or 7:30? Huh?
I think it's
It would be way better.
Eight.
And I know that's not much
It's still
difference,
dark
but
at 7.
8, yeah.
it's
dark at
8 a.m.
eight,
Just,
It's-
I,
oh, that would be great.
I-
And you can
I
have
can-
this
I
from
can-
last year. Jenna has it someplace.
I've seen it once.
Okay.
Thing.
Right. They're both there.
everybody else has
Okay.
to.
All right, so we'll stay tuned. I'll have more information on
Those
luminaries.
bags last year were absolutely horrible.
Can I give this to you?
Oh,
They completely split down the sides, so many of them, they were horrible. So I don't
Because I
know
did.
if those, some were left over and some were, Bob
There were
didn't know
none
which
left.
Just a
ones
little
were which.
slow.
No, I meant from the year before, like.
Oh,
but
where they got
split
it.
right down the side, there was no glue, they were terrible. And we
currently
don't
have
usually have
zero.
that problem.
Yeah.
We had a number of bags that just fell.
Right, so we used all of them because of that. So that would be my only request.
and then are we
Alright.
supposed to come down for the Christmas lighting then too, or is that
That would be
just
nice.
if we we do kind of thing?
There will be caroling and the Christmas tree lighting and the church will have dinner.
You want me to
And
sing?
then the movie will follow.
You want me to sing? Is that what you're saying?
No.
That's what I
There
heard.
will be.
No, that's not.
Okay.
I'm gonna say it a little all Cal.
So, the other thing too, just a reminder, you already have received at the beginning of the year your permit for the parade. So you know your parade route. Just as a reminder, it's not in your packets.
It was in the
It was a February
February
packet.
packet.
Right.
Yeah.
Didn't want you to, they purposely that.
All right, thank you for the Christmas discussion.
Anything else? And a quick little plug, because I forgot that one. Small Business Saturday is this Saturday. Please come downtown, lots of fun things. And Cyber Monday, the DDA will be doing their 2-for offer on your DDA dollars.
Oh, nice.
So beat me online and get yours, because I am right there with you.
Yeah, let's go.
they have a wonderful grant that is more than double this time around, so more of us should be able to participate. So keep that in mind on Saturday.
Question, is that the dollars we get? We put 10 in and you get 20
Right,
back?
so it's like the gift certificates that you can spend in money in the stores downtown, yes.
Oh, we can only get them online?
No.
Oh,
Or-
you could, well, yes, they'll be open
Yes.
Monday if you want to come into the office and get them from Matt, but Cyber Monday, the goal is to go online and do your
Oh, yeah, no, I
purchasing.
just,
The DDA's website.
okay.
Right.
All right.
But if you really wanted to, I'm sure Matt will
I
not
really
turn you
do.
away in the office. If
I know
he's
some
available.
eateries around here that love me for that.
So, but there will be, I don't honestly know the dollar limit. It previously was 100, which gives you 200.
Yeah.
I'm not sure this year's limit. I know they sell out by the end of the day, if not sooner.
Gotcha.
So get in there and get your sales, like Black Friday all over again. All right. Anything else on Christmas in the Village?
I think we covered it all, right, Jenna?
I believe so.
Okay, thank you. That's it.
All right. Excellent. Item number 4 is the Small Business Saturday Resolution.
Your packet contains the Village of Ortonville resolution of recognition of Small Business Saturday. Is it in order to better promote Small Business Saturday, make sure the word is out there. I present this resolution to you.
I'd like to make a motion that the 22nd of November 2021, the Village of Ortonville Council will hereby proclaim that November 22nd is the Small Business Saturday and urge residents and enjoy your businesses.
Support.
We have motion on the table by trustee Dylas, supported by trustee Nyveld. Questions on the motion? Jenna, please. Small business Saturday.
Randazzo,
Yes.
Dylas,
Yes.
George,
Yes.
Green,
Yes.
Hayden, Nyvel,
Yes.
Bryce.
Yes. Thank you. Motion carries 7-0. Next up is the village president pro tem appointment. Just a reminder that we are nearing the beginning of the year again. And I'll kind of put them together but apart. We also do the committees. So it's time for that. Please put in any request or interest in that by December 10th. And let me know if that's something that you are interested in. Just keep in mind that might include last minute, you are the king or queen appointment, like minutes before the meeting. So
What?
that you are the last minute king or queen based on like emergency, like if somebody can't make it
Right.
last minute. So just keep that in mind, your flexibility and your ability to please do that. We would love to hear from you. I would love to hear from you. And that will be done in December. Any questions on that?
Did you want us to send in to the village manager?
Let me know if you're interested in something like that.
That was for the pro tem.
Oh, yeah,
Yeah,
for the,
pro tem.
Yeah, like I said, I'm kind of lumping that, yes, there will be 2 items
Yeah.
similar, but yes, that's the first one to address. All right, are we good with that?
Yep.
And then we have item number 6, which is also the board committee and subcommittee appointments. Keep in mind that also does rotate through the beginning of January. So we will be making those appointments at the December meeting. And I would absolutely love to hear, as you look down the list of those and our rules and procedures, all of our committees and subcommittees, including the fabulous new volunteer appreciation committee, subcommittee. What you are really interested in being a part of, and also what you really would rather not be a part of. And let me know, and it's really important to kind of do all that above, because there are some of us in multiple places and people and things to be. So please keep that in mind and give me a fantabulous list of favorites and not so favorites. I would appreciate
So
that.
is the-
Also December 10th. if
Is
you
the
don't mind.
idea that, what if everyone is fine where they're at and want to finish what they're doing. I mean, it's not that we have to change just for the sake of changing, right? Because I don't believe in some cases that's what's best for the village.
Well, number one, I think, finish what you're doing. I hope you're never finished. I hope we always have ongoing projects. And for
Well-
another thing, everybody kind of needs to know what's going on in every direction. So if, you know, say somebody's on council 10 years and on one committee for 10 years, what does that do for council? So I just think we need to look at, you know, both sides of that. And that's why I said, tell me, hey, what you absolutely love. Tell me what's not so exciting. So, you know, you have the problem of you have 5 people sign up for the same committee. You need to look at that. You know?
Okay, well, there are some things that I know in my case, with 2 of the subcommittees that I have going, and they should be done, I'm hoping the beginning of summer, actually, both of them, and then they're handed over to the village. They become the village office manager's responsibility. But I know those aren't supposed to be looked at till March 2022, and then I should almost be done with it by June. So I would not want to bring someone in and go over 2 years of work, you know, on the one committee, the other one wasn't, just for them to finish or complete 2 months. I just don't feel that would be smart or appropriate. And then we have the planning commission bylaws that we have to keep in mind as well, so.
So
That's
the
it.
request is to have everything due by December 10th, and go ahead and send me an email if you don't mind, and go ahead and throw that information in there that you know that. I do know the 2 are March, and, you know, hey, we're almost finished. Perfect, fine.
Yeah, because then that, I hate to even say it, but then it becomes Ryan's. I hate to say that, it's just more work for Brian.
Yeah, and, you know, I do kind of agree, if you are heavily involved in the committee and you have ongoing things, that continuity is nice. At the same time, some rotation is nice too, because then it helps all of us be more well-rounded in terms of understanding all different aspects of the village operation. too. So that's also an opportunity to take on something really different, try something out. Expand your scope of knowledge.
Yeah, no, I mean, it's all good, but not,
Parks and Rec, you
not at the
know,
benefit of,
In the middle of
Yeah.
projects.
yeah, not at the benefit
Took me a
of.
year to catch up with all of it.
Right.
And
like I said, the
now,
hope is
what do you do?
everybody's in the middle of a project in every committee all the time. I mean, that's our goal, you know. I've served on every single committee, and, you know, I've been able to keep up because they've kept good minutes, and, you know, you're able to be involved in that, and unless Dave thinks I'm slacking, because this is my very last committee, I haven't been. But, so, you know, you get the chance to feel out things that you're not familiar with, and I think, like I said, that's how it's been for many, many years, and it seems to be working well. And if,
That
like I
doesn't
said, you
work
wanna-
well.
You want to
Sorry.
go ahead and send me an email and, you know, say what you'd like to do, that would be great, and, you know, why you think that's a good fit, I would absolutely love it.
And I think another thing to keep in mind too is, I think everyone but Tony and I are up for reelection. I don't know who is running again, not running, but just.
We're not.
Huh? Except
She
for
said you
Oh,
are.
except-
Tony and I, everyone is. Yes, so
Oh, I
keep in
should
mind,
add
that's
to
only,
you.
you know, so it's 11 months left on these. So do you change it up for the sake of changing it up and complete 11 months? But that's just, I'm throwing it out there just as a suggestion.
All right, any other questions or comments?
I guess I was just sending Melanie's thoughts there that unless there's an issue with somebody on council or they're not doing their job or what have you, but just change for the sake of change, I don't think it's a good idea.
Thank you. Anyone else? All right, item number 7 is the ZBA draft bylaws, and I will send it over to Manager Manis, please.
All right, I'll start with the pop quiz. Who chairs the zoning board of appeals for the village of Ortonville? The village president, that is correct.
Did you
So,
hear that sigh?
yeah, as the village council, you are also the zoning board of appeals.
Correct.
So, to make sure, just to further clarify that role, I think it's important to understand that it's a kind of a judicial role, that you're an elected legislative body, but also this is a one that needs further clarification sometimes. So, as part of the RRC process, we're reviewing bylaws for all of our boards, committees, commissions, etc. So your packet contains bylaws that have been drafted mostly by me, using examples from other municipalities. Zoning Board of Appeals bylaws help ensure that each member of the village council is aware of their responsibilities and clearly defines the process for when and how the ZBA will act, which I think is very helpful to you in this role. So to have clear bylaws is always a good thing. It's not one we fulfill often. In fact, the ZBA has yet to meet in the calendar year 2021. Just to make sure that these bylaws are reviewed and adopted is the goal. Between a little bit of discussion today and then adoption at the December meeting is my goal. So to kind of read the room, if we limited discussion on this to 7 minutes or less, I think that would be in the best interest of our meeting. And then I would further ask for more input. Any thoughts there? The RRC committee will review these in more detail. I'll meet with the planning commission chair as long as he's awake, and we'll talk about them in more detail. So we will. I can't see you behind the podium. So at this point, I'm not looking for a motion. I would just like some discussion, further input, and then I will lead the charge on fine tuning these so that we can adopt them at our next meeting.
Okay, I guess I'll lead out the discussion. Since I've been on this council back in the 90s as well as the mid-2000s and now again now, I would say I think that you did kind of touch on this at one point, and I think it would be something we should consider is, should the council really be acting also as a ZBA? Or would it be better to have an independent ZBA made up of a different group of people? Could have council members or planning commissioners, whatever. But I think it might make it a little more independent board, less influenced by politics, if it was more made up of another group of people rather than the council itself, because we're all elected officials. So that's just something I think that we should all think about.
I think we need to check with the MML on that.
So
Because I don't know we can abdicate that.
We can.
Well, we can.
So I
In fact,
reviewed
it's
it.
not recommended in general for councils to act as ZBAs. We went to a zoning board of appeal workshop, and that's exactly what they said. Is usually it's not the council member that is ZBA.
News to me.
So I reviewed this with our MEDC planner, Elizabeth, because that was my initial thought too, was we need to separate them immediately. Why are we together? And the fact is, we're a small municipality. We have limited volunteers. We have limited capacity to serve in all these roles. And so having the village council serve is not uncommon among smaller municipalities. Usually places under about 5,000 people. It's pretty common. Is it a best practice? No, but that's how it is in many places. And so she shared several versions of bylaws for places where the council serves as the ZBA, which is why the bylaws include some language around who does what very clearly to try to define those roles and separate duties.
So, would we have, well, I guess we'll just, we can research it, but I'm
Please do.
interested in the independent ZBA idea, actually.
And that's, it being involved in the ZBA hearings, it is very difficult when you're in both of those positions and you have somebody coming to you, and then as you say, you have an election coming up. You know, that's not the basis of what you're making a decision on, but that's the basis then on what, you know, the response will be from somebody who didn't like the answer at their hearing. So that puts everybody in an awkward position.
Yeah.
And when it's your next door neighbor coming in with a request,
I know,
that puts
right?
you in an awkward position.
No, it means you get to recuse yourself because it's your neighbor.
Right?
Right, and not only that, you don't have to have a board of 7, you can have a board of 3. And, you know, you can have a business owner, you can have a resident, you can have a township board. There's so many things you could have on there that know what they're doing. You know, how many of our community members are a business, a builder, an electrician or something, you know. We can really well-round this with people who know a little more than we do. So I would love to see that too, but I don't think that's a now question.
Yeah,
I
no,
think
I'll
it's-
definitely research.
It's a next step
That's
question.
yeah, that's
But I've been requesting that for 6 years.
oh, okay, but, yeah.
That's why I sighed when Ryan's like, and you're done. I I just don't think that's something that we necessarily know what we're doing. That's not our day job or our night job or our side job or our.
Well, with that in my limited exposure to ZBA decisions, the most important person in the room is the building inspector. He helped me out. What was his last name? Was it Bill Dinnan? Bill Dinnan. And Bob, I guess Chief Quapis, I guess my question for you with Jason is Jason will be, from a fire department standpoint, he will be a building inspector. Does his duties also encompass, do we have a building person? I thought we do. Okay, then that settles that question, okay. But that's the most important person in the room, because I've sat there, and I'll just own this for myself, looking at that person for guidance. You know, about fences, this height, this, what happens here. And it's the building inspector that has the answers as far as how I vote.
Yes.
And I think that's fine. I don't have to know everything, and I don't know a lot, but,
And that's
yeah.
twofold, and that led us to realize that our zoning ordinances needed to be reviewed, because that was very difficult for us. When your inspector standing in front of you and saying, it's not very clear. Well, if it's not clear for him, it's surely not clear for us. So, you know, yeah, that kind of.
Okay, so I don't mind keeping it the way it is with councils, as long as you've got the building inspector who does have the answers to guide us. And I thought Bill did a real good job of that, one of those
To your
positions.
point also, you know, part of things as council members, we're not necessarily as deeply knowledgeable about the zoning ordinances themselves. That really falls under the planning commission. So to me, it does make sense to try to maybe bring in people who would have more knowledge in the area of the zoning and stuff like that.
Yeah.
So it could be something where we, have people from different areas of experience
That
that
would be
would have
good.
more knowledge in those specific topics that
Okay.
can make a difference.
And if you look at the bylaws, it is not the building inspector's job nor position. They're kind of the neutral party,
Exactly.
because they're coming to them, and then it comes to us, so, you know.
Yeah,
I mean,
yeah.
we
But
can't
yeah, I
really
just
rely on
always
that.
found Bill real good, for knowledge.
So back to Ryan.
Okay, so, I guess I'm still not looking for a motion. Do we want to just tear up these draft bylaws and work to form an independent zoning board of appeals and recruit volunteers and create a
When they
A board?
also need bylaws though, these bylaws to follow?
They'd be probably
Well,
slightly
maybe they
different
could make up
bylaws.
their own.
Let's make it up as
Being
we
as
go
they-
along.
Being as they, know all about it.
No, I thought
They might be the best
they read
people to
real
do it.
well. Yeah, right, I thought what you
I
had.
guess
So-
why wouldn't we move forward with what we have going right now?
Yep.
Finish that.
Yep.
And then we can look at if we wanted to divide that, make that
Sounds
a
good.
second.
Or
later.
change it,
Yeah, I thought what you got is good.
Sounds good.
I
Yeah.
think that sounds reasonable.
Yeah.
We already have what's existing. This will meet an RRC requirement, I'm assuming.
Yes, it will.
And then we can.
Yeah, because I would like to research the other.
Further
Yeah.
investigate whether an independent zoning board might make more sense. Or be more.
Yeah, I think that's a thought. I don't know.
Yeah.
I wouldn't think that walking out.
Yeah, that would,
Because we do need something in place. We do not have bylaws, and we currently have a zoning board. So if somebody wants to make an appointment tomorrow, this is necessary until we research.
yeah.
Okay, so I will send you a reminder as well as these draft bylaws, and I will be looking for input prior to our next meeting on December 20th, at which time I will present them to be voted on.
Because the bottom line on that, Brian, I think your bylaws are fine. I think it's just the composition of the ZBA committee, how that's going to happen. And I think Larry's point's well taken. We've got planning commission people that would be certainly more knowledgeable than I would be. Yeah, okay.
Sounds good?
Thank you, Ryan.
Thanks, Ryan.
Tammy, before we go on, can I go back to Christmas in the Village? Because I just realized that was part of the agenda items. I'm not able to talk about.
Sure.
We did decide on a movie on December 3rd at 7:30. It's going to be here. It's going to be Santa Paws 2, The Santa Pups. That there's something on the Parks and Rec, Brandon Parks and Rec Facebook page. There's a reason, there's a certain thing that we cannot do for these movies. So if you want to know them, just email them to me and I'll discuss it with you. And also, there's approximately 17 groups, I guess, for the parade. When I talked to Fred today.
17 groups, what?
Yeah.
Walking in the
Different
parade.
group. Yeah,
Oh,
boys,
okay.
17 different volunteers.
Oh, in the, okay.
Yeah, but I mean, he's including you guys, or us, but it didn't sound like we are, so. But it's 17 somewhere in there.
Wonderful. And there's always someone still do it. All right. Next up is the village manager's report. I'll turn that over to manager.
All right, I'll try to go fast. Your packet contains information about the RRC Virtual Academy. The Redevelopment Ready Communities program is something we talk about quite a bit. We are inching our way towards completing several best practices all at once. We've got several things that are right about to the edge of the cliff when they're about to tip over. So if you'd like to learn more, the RRC Virtual Academy is coming up. It starts in January. I can provide the link. It would be good for village council members, planning commission members, anyone, DDA, anybody who's interested in learning more. Great opportunity to learn. Questions?
Is there a fee for this?
I don't believe so.
Says
And if there is the
free
village, it
training.
says free training.
Yeah.
Yeah. As an RRC community, there's a lot of perks. I think this is
Yeah,
one of
no,
them.
I mean, I've done a online thing before and kind of missed the, I guess we didn't get it in time, so I had to wait for another open class. So if we can put my name down on there,
Yep.
I'd like to be part of that.
Just click the link on there, you can register yourself, I think.
Well,
I'll send the link.
Yeah, he's got to send it.
Well, actually, the one on our meeting packet was on DOE, so if you
Yeah,
know
nice.
that Jennison, it seems like the link's live in that PDF, so you can just click on that. Good job, man.
All right. We didn't include it in the packet, but the fee schedule is one that we've been talking about. Also an RRC item, but we haven't reviewed our fee schedule since 2015. It's something we should at least kick the tires on once a year. Is the general best practice. That's the RRC requirement. So look for it in your next meeting. It's actually the planning commission who plays an outsized role in setting the fee schedule, so that'll be coming to them in the near future also if they're awake. And so look for that.
Okay.
Yeah. So look for that in the near future, the fee schedule being under review. And then the last one is I wanted to provide an update on ARP and Infrastructure Investment and Jobs Act. You can read that. It's the last page of your packet. We did receive the first half of our ARP funding on November 9th. So $75,518.50 was received by the village. The other half will be received roughly 1 year after that first was received. There is a chance we will receive more money as soon as December. There were a handful of non-entitlement units, which are mostly villages, that opted out of receiving ARP money. So that money goes back into a pool and it gets divided amongst communities that did accept it. It's based on population and yada yada. So there's a chance we'll receive a little more funding as soon as next month. And then the Infrastructure Investment and Jobs Act was passed on November 15th. You heard all kinds of things about infrastructure lately. It sends billions of dollars to the state of Michigan and other agencies. So unlike the ARP funding was handled by the Department of Treasury, which isn't a place that normally grants a lot of grants and things like that or runs these kinds of programs. Unlike the ARP funding, the IIJA funding will go through traditional sources of funding. So that means we'll be working with places like SEMCOG, Oakland County, Eagle, the DNR Trust Fund, DNR, all those kinds of things for grant money. So it's expected, according to Congresswoman Slotkin's office, it's expected that money will be received by the state of Michigan around April of 2022. which means that between now and April, everyone is going to be jostling for position to receive that money. So I would encourage you as the village's elected officials to be hounding our representatives in Lansing and Washington, D.C. as spending plans and projects are scheduled. Now's the time that they're setting up those spending plans and thinking about where they're going to allocate those big chunks of money, and they are very large chunks of money. So if you don't have contact information for our reps in Lansing and DC, I'd be happy to get those for you. It's a great time to just remind them, hey, happy holidays. Also, we would like some money in Ortonville. All right. So don't be shy.
Do we have
Any
to
questions on that?
specify anything, or just the, like, the
That we're
sewer
here?
initiation, or the, I mean, is there anything you would want us to,
To especially, every
Yeah.
time I speak with Congresswoman Slotkin's office, I talk about sewers.
Mm-hmm.
And as a resident of Holly, she's very aware of the sewer project. But it's not a bad idea to remind our representatives in Lansing, because they're pretty hard to get a hold of. So don't be shy about reaching out. I do at least once a week. I try to reach out to an elected official in another office that represents us.
It's awesome. Thank you.
Evaluations.
Yes.
Self-explanatory.
I mean, anything master plan related, roads, sewers, anything
Yeah.
infrastructure, broadband, and bringing it to downtown. So just hound them, get on them. If you need ideas or you run short of things to talk to them about, I'd be happy to furnish you with more things you can ask them for.
Okay.
Any other questions on that or for me?
Good.
Good in here, yeah.
All right. Thank
All
you
right, thank
very
you.
much. Anything else?
That's it for me.
Next up is public comment. Please keep in mind this is on non-agenda items only. You will have 3 minutes to share anything with us, questions, comments, anything you have from those that are awake.
You guys, you guys, oh my goodness. Is he even hearing any of the flowers?
All right. Thank you very much. We are on additional items from trustees, and we will start with you, please. All right. Next up is Pat.
I'm just looking forward to a nice Christmas in the village this year. I think it's going to be a lot of fun.
You're bringing good weather?
I can only hope.
Thank you. Okay.
I have nothing.
Larry.
I just want to say I think Halloween turned out great. It was a good event, and I saw lots of kids. I know our planning commission chair saw lots, even more kids than I did. So appreciate everybody's help and support for that. Our volunteers who helped with that. Looking forward to Christmas in the village too. And wish all our residents and all the council members here a happy Thanksgiving coming up. That's it for me.
Thank you. Melanie, please.
Yes, Halloween. I just wanted to mention that. Thank you to the DPW staff and our village office staff. Jenna and Beth worked the night of, but prior to that, they had everything so organized for candy distribution. It took just a little over an hour. I came in and the DPW guys, and it took just a little over an hour because it was all organized so well. So you can tell it's not their first rodeo. They did a great job. Ryan was out with his baby distributing candy as well. So thank you so much for doing that, Ryan, and the office, DPW. Let's see what else. The Saturday event, I just wanted to say thank you, Chief Office, for coming down Saturday. To Sergeant Glover, he came in early from deer hunting. He was on holiday deer hunting, and he came back early for Saturday. And Ryan, you spent your whole day there. Thank you very much for doing that. Much appreciated. And then I just had one quick question. So the CDBG we didn't talk about. So if we have suggestions of where we'd like allocations to go, where are we doing this?
Good question, because that is something that does need to be opened up at this point, because we do need to finalize that.
Yeah. So is cutoff truly the December 17th? Okay, so,
21, 22.
all right, is council then, do they understand, does everyone understand what they're supposed to do and to send it to whom? Both of you?
It needs to be decided right now, this evening. It must be in the minutes.
Oh,
So, like I said, that's what I was going to circle back to.
Okay,
As soon as
okay.
everybody was done with their comments. But if you want to finish your comments and we can do it
I'm done.
now.
I am done.
Tony was the last one, so
Yep.
I'm just going to finish him and then, you want to save that one for?
Yeah,
Okay,
yeah.
all right, we'll go back to
Okay.
it. Tony, is there anything you would like to share?
I'll just reiterate what Larry did. It was a great Halloween, and happy Thanksgiving to everybody, and that's all I have.
No point in you saying anything because you've said it all. We appreciate it. We appreciate all the help from everybody and have a fabulous next holiday. We do need to, as Jenna reminded us and Melly had mentioned, we did not specifically have an agenda item. It went right over our head at the public comment, so I apologize. We must have a motion that's separate. Wait, whoa, sorry, first side, let's try it again. We must approve the application with the amount of $8,482 with our proposed project allocation in our minutes. So now would be a great time for us to pick our brains and discuss which projects we would like our $8,482 to go towards, one project, many projects, etc. And we do need to specifically come to a consensus, have a motion in our minutes, so she can include that with our application.
So last year when we did this, I had mentioned to council that I would have liked to see some of it go to the parks and recreational facilities, but because of COVID and what happened last, we were kind of late and we had to do what we had to do, so we didn't lose out on the money. So there are several things that I think council should really consider. The parks and rec facilities is one of them. Water, sewer improvements, street improvements, sidewalks, and there's also an interim assistance program that can help with streets and sidewalks as well. So even dividing it up is a possibility. Dividing it into two or three, but it's not that much money. I'd say two at the most. But I was interested to hear what other council members, when they looked at it, what they'd like to see the money go towards.
I had, the Parks and Rec were mine, were going to be my recommendations. You know, we might be able to finish a skate park, I don't know, if we had 4,000.
The skate park or the
Of the
Pickleball.
yeah, okay.
At the skate
I'm with you.
skate
Yep.
place,
Yes,
pickleball.
and also can go towards like trail signage. So the walking trails that will be coming, they're being worked on.
Right.
It could help with that as well. And I'm not sure, it doesn't go into a whole bunch, but it's for open space areas or facilities intended primarily for recreational use.
Right.
And it's development of, so.
Right.
And it's something I think we have to call and make sure that we are eligible.
Before we submit it, otherwise they'll say no and then.
Yeah, and then we lose
just-
time, right?
Yeah.
I think that happened the last time around, didn't we? Because we tried to allocate some money towards,
To the park.
But we have the list now that
Because it
says
went
we
into
can't.
the creek.
Yes, that was
Included in
for
our packet
water
is a
and,
list.
I brought that motion, that was the water, or flood drainage or something.
And just keep in mind, this grant is to specifically benefit low-income housing or, environment in your community.
Yes.
Pardon?
No, it can be.
No, it's for, like I said, what is,
It can
where's your
be-
most bang for your buck for reaching your low-income community? What can we do that will benefit the most target impact?
I mean, I would love to do things for the parks and all that stuff, but I would just have some concerns whether we'd be able to meet the criteria for the CDBG money in those types of projects.
We didn't
That's why
enter
we're bringing
Parks
it
and
up.
Rec last year. That was not why it was turned down.
Yes, but I mean.
That was never turned
The
down.
national objectives portion of what it says, activities that benefit all residents within a defined geographic area can meet the low income benefit requirement if the area meets the urban county exception criteria of a minimum of 45.08% low income residents as calculated by law.
That's why we get CDBG.
And I don't, does our entire community qualify? For
Yeah,
It's in certain stages based on, I'll let Jennifer answer, I'm sorry. Does the entire community qualify for?
Yeah, so something that benefits our community, like a park improvement or something like that, would that meet that criteria of an area?
It's possible because if you specify in here, it says like 51 must benefit a minimum of 51% of low income persons. So as long as you specify, we would tend.
And if we have 60% in the school, I would think we would come close to that 51% in the village.
Yeah, but I'm looking at the second bullet point, activities that benefit all residents within the defined geographic area. If it's for programs and stuff, yeah, that's easier to target than if it's just an improvement to a park, for example. Then you.
and I can see parks benefiting everybody.
Yeah, and that's just it. That's where I'm looking at the second bullet that says activities that benefit all residents. And that says we need to have minimum 45.08 residents.
And that's why we would have to have it checked out. So is that something you want looked into?
What have we done in the past?
We have always done towards the,
We've done OSAPs, we've done youth assistance, we've done Haven, we've done many areas. We've also, there's the one that we did the rec department for the traveling ski, the bus that shuttled for the skiers. When the school stopped doing that, we did that one year. It's usually been youth related.
yeah. Last year was BGYA, and then we tried to get it for the Crossman Park project, for the street improvements, but that was declined because the water ran into the Kersley Creek. But we have not tried for sidewalks or for parks, or for street improvements. And street improvements include street drains, storm drains, curbs, gutters, tunnels, bridges, traffic lights, etc. So there are items out there that I think it's our duty to check it out to see if we could use it for certain areas. And I'm not saying the whole money to be allotted, but it seems like the youth group right now is sitting pretty good. So, even if they got half of the budget.
Yeah, I would kind of lean towards splitting it between Brandon Groveland Youth Assistance and OSA in the south.
Did you say
Is there
also?
something you'd like to input, please?
Did you say
He's
also?
already said he's got plenty of money right now that he can't
Yeah.
spend.
We, again, with the clerk, we are trying to schedule a meeting with CDBG at the county to determine what programs, 'cause we have a couple, and I had the thought of presenting several different issues to them to see where they stood as far as like the park, putting on a different hat, like the parks and that sort of thing. If there's anything that they will do, which typically they have not. If you don't meet HUD requirements, that's the base of the whole thing. It's whatever you're doing has got to meet HUD. But seeing as how we'll have two primary people together, I want to deal with BGYA, the issues that we have there that we want to do. But then I want to be able to hit them up on, is there anything that we can use that for in the village as far as parks, trails,
Yes.
sidewalks, that kind of thing? And I do plan on taking a